I'm Hunnaj. I am a rapper from upstate New York, and I've been making music for about a year and a half. And yeah, I'm just here to...
Great. So what I typically do with any of my first interviews is I like to ask basic questions. And this isn't the last time you guys are going to hear from him, but I would like to ask you what has been your inspiration? Was it your friends, your family, your situation? Was it a specific artist?
Hmm. Well, I started freestyling in like 2015. So, well, I listened to Eminem since I was like 3 or 4. I know that's that's weird, but he was like my favorite artist until I was about 10, and then I got more into like rock music and like pop punk kind of stuff, and then I moved on to rap again in like 2015, and then I started freestyling as a joke, and then in about at the end of 2018, my friend Mystic Six, we were just driving around one day, and then he said, "Why don't we just start taking this seriously?" And then from there on, we've just started making stuff, if that makes sense.
Sure. And I know your environment is a lot different than most other rappers. So go ahead and talk a little bit about your situation, where you're at, and the community around you.
Oh, yeah. I'm basically in the middle of nowhere, so I don't have like studios and stuff around me. So we've had to make do with what we could get. So I basically made my own home studio. And a lot of the people around me don't listen to rap or anything like that. So it was kind of rough to get a little fan base at first, but then I realized that through Instagram, it doesn't matter where you are, you can just start getting people to listen.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've got, a similar situation where I've got to drive, 45 minutes into the city to, interact with much of a community. Now, who would you say is your team? I know you've spoken about No Coast, correct? Talk to us a little bit about that. NoCo?
Yeah, NOCO.
Okay.
NoCo stands for like North Country, yeah. But yeah, there is a collective of us that just started making music together when we all started at the same time. Some of us have been doing it longer, obviously, but the main person I started with was Mystic Six, and we've been working together basically since I started. And Nervous Habits is I'm the guy that produced my first few beats, and one of my best friends now. Someone I didn't realize lived close to me that I thought lived like far away, and he lived really close to me. So we've been like hanging out and making stuff for about a year and a half as well. We've all worked on stuff together, and yeah, that's clear enough.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. So what would you say is your short-term goals, whether or not it's with this crew or yourself? And then also we can get into, more long-term goals.
Oh, so for like the goals, the main thing I just want to do is like prove that no matter where you are, if you like dedicate yourself enough, you can really just hopefully blow up or get at least something going for yourself. Like it doesn't matter where you are. And I'm hoping that we can all like we can all get up there. That is a good way to phrase it. I don't really know, but
sure. Well, talk a little bit about like more projects that you have coming that you've been working on. I know you mentioned over the past weekend you worked on a few things, but do you have any plans as far as EPs? Or I know you've worked with different photographers and videographers about potential music videos, different ideas like that.
Breakdown is coming. I don't know when this podcast is dropping, but it's coming out this Friday on July 3rd.
Great.
That's the main one I got going on, and after that, I'm going back to softer stuff again because Breakdown's gonna be a heavier song.
Okay.
And I think I'm gonna keep going with the softer style for a while, and I don't have a music video. I had one planned, but I'm not gonna do it yet. I'm gonna wait till I can go to more places, like after the Corona stuff's over with.
Sure.
And that's when I want to shoot my first one. I do have. I will begin managing Tia.
There you go.
As well.
Yeah. So talk a little bit about your guys' relationship, because I know that's one of my favorite songs.
Yeah. we've been best friends for like 12 years, and she's had like a great voice forever. And I got her on a song one day, and then since then we've made an EP together, and I finally, hopefully, have convinced her to do a lot more solo stuff, so we can start releasing that soon.
Sure.
Now, I don't know what the plans are yet.
So
for
that sounds like your long-term plans, kind of building out your label or management or agency, or really, like you said, you're one of the only people in your area that has their own studio. So a lot of the people that you're interacting with, they don't have any other choice. And I know a lot of the other people in your group, they have their own studio now. And what would you say is an unattainable goal that you have, or as a group? Where would you like to see yourself in 2 to 5 years?
2 to 5 years, I would love to be touring by that point, but I mean, if it doesn't happen then, I'm sure it will eventually. But I'd love to see us all just be able to tour together, because I think that'd be a lot of fun.
No, absolutely.
Fun
Absolutely. And nowadays, the only way to make money is through touring. Touring, merchandise. Have you looked into making your own brand or different things like that?
Yeah, I was looking into T-shirts and bracelets.
Sure.
I was gonna go through Teespring, but I'm not sure
about
all that yet. But I just don't have anything yet that I think could go on a T-shirt.
Absolutely, and that's definitely something that I can help with, because that's really my whole mission with this podcast, is to kind of help people reach their total potential. And I think we've talked about this before, that I believe the most important thing is a logo. Because everybody going back to your music, everybody going back to your brand, and it's all about brand identification, and so really it all comes down to that logo, and there can obviously be graphics, and there can be, different artwork that stems from the logo. But at the end of the day, that logo is what's going to be on the tag, or it's going to be on the arm or the back, or, to where what you're capable of doing is let's say you're working with Tia, you're able to, produce her merchandise and, use that brand on that merchandise to then cross promote the rest of the group's brands. So much brand talk here. And that at the end of the day is the whole purpose. Because what's really hard, not impossible, but when you go to any site for clothing, to be able to find several options, so then if someone doesn't particularly see what they like, there's other options. So do you have any, and I know we're only at like 8 minutes now, like I feel like, our previous experience, we went, yeah, can you hear me?
Oh yeah, you're just cutting out.
Okay.
I can hear you better now.
Okay. So we're at around the 8-minute mark, 9-minute mark on the second Total Potential podcast. Now, do you have any questions for me?
This is more like just a question in general. Like,
sure.
How did you make your own logo yourself?
So originally, that TP logo came from my mobile auto detailing business. When I was 15 years old, I had started a mobile auto detailing business, and it was a family friend that I, in exchange, detailed her car in exchange for a logo. But the previous company that we worked with, we had an artist called True Viz, which, big shout out to True Viz. So I can share his contact with you as well. He's done covers for XXL, and he's done the Little Dirk's cereal box. He is great, $200-300 for a logo. But the only issue is that he uses Photoshop instead of Adobe Illustrator. So the difference between Photoshop and Adobe Illustrator is a vector file, right? That
Mm.
it's
Yeah.
vector versus razor. So a razor file, when you zoom real close in, it's all pixelated. And for photos in Photoshop, that's perfectly fine. But when it comes to logos, you do want a vector image. So
Mm.
what we were able to do was is pay for that Photoshop image from TrueViz, but then we found a local digitizer, $40, and they were able to digitize the logo. So I'm sure there's online services for that, but if you're interested in something, I don't want to say more basic, but we could definitely sit down and brainstorm and pick up Adobe Illustrator because as of right now, I have ended my subscription to Adobe Illustrator. When I was in college, it was $20 a month for the entire Adobe suite. Today, it's
Yeah.
like $60 a month, right? So that really has made me hesitant, and I've since purchased Final Cut Pro. So I'm
Mm.
not using Premiere Pro anymore. So that's something that I can help you with. I can make you a logo. So that's just
Mm.
something that we can talk about, and like I said, that's kind of the whole mission with this Total Potential podcast is helping people. Me. I personally can help people. Reach their total potential, which includes logos. So that's something that I can help you out with.
All right. Yeah. That'd
Yeah,
be awesome, actually.
absolutely.
There's a lot of stuff I'm not aware of that I'm gonna need to be aware of
Yeah, for sure,
soon.
for
So
sure. And maybe, maybe I don't do such great of a job giving a little bit of I don't know, maybe that's what I need to do. I need to shoot and or do an audio version of my background and what experience that I do have that I'm definitely a jack of all trades in a sense. I don't really, put limitations on what I'm capable of doing and uh media specifically. But what's
yeah,
difficult is since we are so far away, it's not like I can shoot your videos. It's not like I can shoot your photos. So that is the only downside of networking with people outside of our area is
mm,
I can only really be a consultant of sorts where you can go, "Hey Tony, I've got these 5 photos. Which one do you think is the best?" Right? Or I've got all of
yeah,
this footage. Could you edit it? Different things like that where I could assist with the post production, but as far as the actual production, due to the fact that you are in New York, upstate New York, it's definitely a little bit difficult, Although, obviously, if money wasn't an issue, I could obviously, fly out and this is something that not just is for you, but for others to hear as well. That in a perfect world, I would be willing to fly out, once things were to be, um, what's the word? Once people could
like
afford
normal.
that. Yeah, and
Yeah,
exactly. That but that's something that I can help with that, if you can get somebody to shoot a music video and they're not that confident as far as editing, I could then take that raw footage and turn it into something. So
yeah,
that's definitely, something else that I can help with. Um and also just overall consulting like as far as pushing you towards managing your artists, really how to approach it, building and what would be the word that I'm looking for, procuring your own brand, like for example like looking at um your page here, like how you want to present yourself, right? Like,
yeah,
different having a personal account and then having a business account. So then you're kind of separated as far as, what type of personal content that you're posting and what type of business content that you're posting, right? So those are, different things, and that's a conversation for another day,
Yeah.
So, all right, let me think. So this was the second podcast for the Total Potential podcast. If you haven't already, please subscribe, and I will be listing all of the links down in the description. Could you please tell everybody where to find you?
Oh yeah, you can find me on SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple Music, anywhere you listen to music. I think anywhere. I guess don't hold me to that because you don't know. Maybe there's some places that you don't even know about. But at Hunnaj Music or just Hunnaj, and it's Hunnaj Music on Instagram.
Cool. All right, thank you.